with Laura Blackhall in, wait, I've forgotten where you are. Is it, it's not Tochigi, is it?
No, we are in
Ibaraki. Okay, yay.
Yeah. Not too far, though.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining.
Thank you very much for having me.
I'm so excited to talk about your renovation. You've got this old Japanese house. You've been doing this great renovation project. Before we dive into that, can you just give us a little background about what you have been doing before this renovation project took over your life?
So before the renovation project took over my life, I worked in travel, in tourism. So I have a company called Hello Tours, which is a tour operator specializing in private and small group tours, mostly around food, history, culture, and local life. And I started that in 2014 in Hong Kong, and that went pretty well. So I expanded it over to Singapore, and we launched there in 2017. And then that went really well. So I moved to Japan and we launched in Tokyo just before coronavirus hit and everything came to a crashing halt. Yeah. And that leads us on to this.
Yeah, it's crazy, like the timing, because you came in 2019. So you had a little bit of time to do travel work in Japan before coronavirus, but not even a year probably, right?
No. So after I got here, the first few months was kind of settling in, finding somewhere to live, making sure the business was legally set up correctly, and then hiring my first intern, doing the research, designing the first tours, building the website. And just as we finished all of that and launched that first tour, and we literally had the first probably half a dozen bookings, that was when COVID hit.
Yeah, but you have found a great way to transition during the coronavirus into doing something so positive and so exciting. And I love that you've been documenting it on YouTube. So I just want to give a little shout out to your YouTube channel. Your YouTube channel is called Konnichiwa, is that right? Konnichiwa?
Yeah. Konnichiwa channel, which was kind of like connected to the fact that my tour business is called Hello. So I thought it's quite a nice link in.
Yeah, I like that. Can you introduce your partner that you're doing this amazing project with?
Yeah, this is Ichi Hatano. I never actually mentioned this on the channel, but I'll tell you, it's a good bit of gossip. We only met a couple of months before we decided to actually buy a house together. So
oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah. So we've gone full on into like living together, doing a renovation together, starting a relationship properly.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch these videos and I am just amazed and impressed and inspired and surprised by all the DIY. Like, he's an artist, right?
Yeah.
And you are just a goer. You're just doing it as you I go as you learn as you go. It's amazing. I love it.
Yeah. Ichi's like so impressive. He's really impressed me with this. He did oh God, when he was a teenager, he worked for 3 years as like an apprentice carpenter, not just with wood, but with concrete, but, you know, kind of like really low level, just starting out. So he did that for 3 years. So he picked up a little bit of knowledge then. But since then, he's done nothing. So he's been watching all the YouTube videos. How do we do this? How do we do that? He spends all night watching them, making notes. And then the next day he's like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And this is how we're going to do it.
Oh, it's amazing. So in the YouTube channel, in the first video, you haven't decided yet on the house. You're still looking around. And I found your search criteria was really interesting. Did you already have a budget of 5 million yen in mind when you were searching?
So not exactly. Like coronavirus had just started and I'd lost all of my business. So I basically had no more income. So it was kind of like, well, what have we got in the bank? What could we afford to spend? And then we don't know how long COVID's going to last. So basically we should just buy the cheapest possible house that's still a beautiful house. And 5 million was kind of like the bottom of the ladder in terms of these old kaminkas that are very well built. So that's how that figure came about.
Yeah. Because some of the houses you were introducing in the channel, before you decided, you were looking in Izu at first, which is way in Shikoku.
Yeah.
So you like the house, but you soon realized that was way too far away. So one of your main considerations, it seems like, was how far away from Tokyo, because you have to keep your work in Tokyo for both of you,
Yeah.
or a major airport. So you
Yes.
didn't, and the Izu place was over 4 hours. So that was out, right?
It would have been crazy. Yeah. And I originally looked at it through the eyes of, like, I'm a foreign person. I've only been in Tokyo for a year at that point. Like, I'd heard of Izu. I knew it was a beautiful beach location, and I knew other foreign people were down there. So it was almost like that's why I initially started looking there. And then Ibaraki, I'd actually never heard of Ibaraki. So
but that's where your partner is from, right?
originally,
So,
yeah. He's from the northern part of Ibaraki, and I was like, where?
I love the videos because it's such a great documentation as you're going through the process. It's not like you already decided. It's like, this is what we're deciding. And you also were looking in Yamanashi. But you kind of, once you saw this house, it sounds like you kind of got your heart set on it.
Yeah. And
right?
I guess lots of people have this experience with houses. Sometimes when you see one, you just kind of know this is it. I think this is the right one.
Yeah.
It ticked a lot of boxes.
Tell us about what you liked about it. It sounds like there was a Lotus farm nearby, which sounds really cool.
Oh, we are surrounded by them. It's gorgeous. So directly in front of the house, I'm actually sitting in the living room now, looking out of the window in front of me. And all we've got is about 5 different fields and then a beautiful lake. No other houses directly in front. So it's rice fields and lotus fields. Lotus is the main crop around here. And then directly behind the house, we've also got more fields.
Wow. And Lotus is a beautiful thing to see in the ponds. I love it in Japan. It's also connected very strongly to the religion. You often see statues, stone statues at temples holding the lotus flower or the lotus root, right? It's
Yes, yeah, exactly.
It's also just beautiful to look at. Are there carp in the lotus pools as well?
There's no fish in the lotus fields, but about a 15-minute walk down the road, there's a very nice park with a beautiful pond, which is full of fish.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So, yeah.
Yeah, gorgeous. And one thing we were talking about before we started was how lucky it was that you not only have the main house, but you also have a smaller house and a garage. So while you're fixing up the main house, you have somewhere to live, which is so handy.
Oh, it's so fortunate. So outside the main house, there's an enormous garage, which has got all of my furniture in from my apartment where I was renting in Tokyo. And it only takes up half of the garage. And then we've got all of the stuff we've bought. There's an entire kitchen in there waiting to be installed and loads more space. And then above the garage, there's an upstairs with a couple of very big rooms, which we're going to turn into an art studio. And then behind the house, we've got an outhouse. We've got toilet outhouse. And then we've got another outhouse, which has got a small kitchenette in it and a fairly large room. So we're basically camping in that small house.
Wow, great. We've got some comments. Louise Puppy's joining from New Zealand. Thanks for joining, Louise. Lauren Shannon, I know you interviewed her on your show, on your podcast.
Hi, Lauren.
She said, can you show Ichi's book if you have it handy?
Oh, I don't have it in here. It's in the small house.
That's in one of your videos, right? Like he created a book about dragons, his drawings or something. It looks beautiful.
Yeah. So most of Ichi's customers are tourists as well. So although he doesn't work in tourism, he is entirely reliant on tourists for his business. So when COVID hit, he lost his too. So he started painting. And he's an amazing painter. He paints on washi paper with inks, and he painted 100 pages of dragons and then published them in a book.
Oh, wow. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that gives me some insight into how you guys are doing it so well with all this renovation.
We've got nothing else to do.
And one of the most shocking things for me, because we bought an old house as well, but before we bought it, we already had professionals who were going to renovate it for us. I am not gutsy enough to even try anything major, but you guys have been knocking out walls. You've been like taking up floorboards, putting in concrete. It's amazing. How are you learning?
I would say Ichi's gutsy. I'm naive. I had no idea how much work was going to be involved in this. If I'd known, I don't know if I would have jumped in so quickly.
I love that you were doing all these Pinterest boards for what you wanted it to look like, and then you add a comment. Ichi has told me it might not look like this because we're not professionals.
Yeah. I just had this like fairy tale idea in my head that we can do absolutely anything perfectly without really considering like you need proper skills and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So it's nice to have a dreamer and a realist in the relationship, I think, especially when you're doing this kind of project.
Yes. Because I'm always like, but why can't we do that? It will look great.
Yeah. I ended up, the only thing that I did was doing the plastering on some of the walls and choosing the color. But I was so interested in all of the things that you bought, as well as all the things that you're thinking about with the color scheme and the layout, and you've got maps. You guys are so organized. It's not
He's
just
a designer, isn't it? Like it's
beautiful.
in his blood, so he knows how to put things together properly.
That's great. Some of the things that were surprising, perhaps, you found under the floorboards, you found first some scats or some kind of droppings, and then you found something else, which might have been creating the droppings, right?
Oh, yeah, awful. Well, we found a dead cat under the floor, which was terrible. But when Ichi was pulling up that part of the floor, he suddenly kind of stopped and was like, keep back, don't look. And I was thinking, my God, what is it? And he said, there's a body under the floor.
Oh,
and I just thought, a human. I thought there was a human body under the floor. And then my mind went to the worst places. Like, did somebody murder a child and leave it down there? Like, so
when you realized it was a cat, you were a bit relieved, right?
I was really relieved, yeah. I was like, oh, thank God it's only a cat.
Oh, that's awful. But you've also had some very good finds, like things that you discovered under the ceiling boards, for example, right?
Oh, yeah, the roof is amazing. And of course, when we saw the house before we bought it, we had no idea that was going to be up there. And then when we pulled down the ceiling, and that's taken from the Doma, we just got this amazing view up there, and you can see how beautiful the craftsmanship is.
Yeah. I was visiting a carpenter the other day in Okayama, and he was he's doing a remodel of a very old house as well for himself. And he was saying how beautiful the curved natural wood beams are. And you've got that in your house. And he's saying how rare that is to find now in Japan, because they're all straight edges now. So that's a real...
They cut them all up.
Fine. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And then there's no nails or anything used up there. It's all, you know, very carefully slotted together, and you can see the pen marks on them where the carpenter's labeled, you know, what goes where. All the kind of carpenter notes are still there.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And you mentioned also that you're thinking about maybe putting lights up there so that you can appreciate the beams.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to cover that up. I just think if somebody made something so beautiful, you should look at it every single day. It's just great. So we're just going to put spotlights up so that you can see it when you first walk into the house.
Yeah, that'll be great. I think, like now I'm starting to visit more remodeled or renovated old traditional houses, and they're starting to use this feature. You know, when I first came to Japan, it was all the low ceilings. You had no idea what the under roof ceiling looked like. We did this to our house too. We exposed the beams.
Oh,
But
nice.
even when we did it 10, 15 years ago, we had to look for a remodel company that would do it because it
Really?
was so unusual. So I think it's slowly becoming kind of more appreciated in
Yes.
modern customers. So that's
And I've
great.
seen some renovations where they've still put a ceiling back in, but above the beams, so you can see a couple of them. That seems to be a bit more common now.
Yeah, nice. Thank you, Louise. She's given us a Super Heart Award. That's very sweet.
Thank you.
Nice to get little awards. Lauren says, how cold was the winter? Yeah, you were doing renovations through the winter, which must have been hard.
Oh, it was awful. I don't cope well in the cold, and Ichi doesn't either. So we were in the small house. We bubble wrapped the floor, the windows, everything got bubble wrapped. And then we had an oil burning stove in there as well. But yeah, bitterly cold. I got chilblains on my feet twice, which was awful. And then I discovered those amazing little heat things you put in the bottom of your shoes.
Yeah. And hot water bottles become like your best friend.
Oh, yeah, electric blankets.
I would carry hot water bottles around inside my jackets or sweaters, like just tuck it into the top of your trousers. Or you guys have these great overalls, just put it somewhere inside the overalls. Perfect.
Yeah, we were filling our pockets with the little heat patches, sticking them all over our backs.
Oh my gosh. Well, hopefully now I know you've got insulation. I saw that in the video. This part about how you guys were showering was cracking me up. You have to tell the story. It was like a series of things, using the hose out the wall, using the bucket of water, and then you got like a surface shower.
Yeah.
And then you started using the local facility, right?
Yeah. So we started off with just the cold hose pipe shower. That's the original bathroom you can see there, which is in the corner of the kitchen. So there was no hot water. So it was, a cold hose pipe shower. And then when the temperature dropped a little bit, we bought a bucket and we would put hot water in from the kettle and then just kind of like hold it up and pour it over each other whilst they soak themselves. And then we got the surface shower to put into the bucket of warm water. And then we actually knocked that bathroom out. So we were without bathroom, and we found just down the road, next to the park with the fish that I just mentioned, there's it's like a cafe, and it's got a couple of renter showers.
Yeah. And you have shown the bathroom. You guys are so impressive. Buying a lot of your stuff from Yahoo auctions, right?
Yeah.
So you found great deals on all this
really
stuff.
Good deals. So this picture of the bath you can see here, this was from a display room. So it's not secondhand used, but it's an ex-display model. So we paid 50,000 yen for the bathtub, which is a fraction of what it would cost if you bought a new one. Wow. So we've also done the same with the kitchen. That's also a display model. We've got a beautiful island kitchen ready to put in. And yeah, loads of stuff from Yahoo auction, loads.
Yeah. And you have had some friends, maybe of Ichi, who've come in and done some of the work. I was glad to see that when you had your first problem with turning on the water and then it would flood the house, that you did call in a plumber to get some help, because I was like, oh no, are they okay? Are they going to be able to do this?
That was so funny. We phoned the water company and said, we've just moved in, please turn on the supplies for the house. So it was turned on. And then I was actually on the phone to my parents in the garden, kind of giving them a tour. And then I heard Ichi shouting, come here, come here. And I ran into the house and it was flooded, completely flooded. And I was like, what happened? And he said, well, when I turned on the supply from the main switch in the garden, they'd taken all the taps off the pipes when they left. So the water just gushed out everywhere.
Oh. So you guys hadn't done that. They had done that when they cleared the house for you.
They took the taps,
gosh.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. That is crazy. We had a crazy faucet, which the first remodel company had left, and it had like 4 or 5 different connections, and I had no idea why anybody would use that. And then we had to call in a plumber. Same thing. It just blew right off the wall. We called in a plumber, and he's like, would you like me to just stop it for you with a stopper? And I was like, that would be amazing. So sometimes like getting professional help is just amazing, like lifesaver moment,
Yes.
right?
Oh, totally. When you're just like, we've got no idea what to do here. So we've had professional help for the electrics. We've had the house rewired. So that's actually another friend of Ichi's that owns an electric company. So that's been super helpful. And then obviously gas stuff as well. We've used professionals for that. But everything else that's not dangerous, we're trying to do it ourselves.
It's amazing. Really, kudos to you guys. You're doing an amazing job. Tell us a little bit about your plan, because I'm showing the map of your plan now. You're changing the original structure a little bit, right?
Yeah. So where the red circle is on the back, that was the kitchen. And you can see there's a square in the top right corner. So the old bathroom was in the corner of the kitchen, and it was straight into the wet room with nowhere to take off your clothes or anything. So they must have been doing strip shows in the kitchen. So we're not into that. So we've decided to knock out that bathroom completely. So we've got a larger kitchen. And then where the blue circle is, that was a bedroom. So we're making that entire room into a bathroom. So that's comprised of a wet room, a laundry area, and then a kind of a sink and a changing area. And then where the yellow circle is, that was a room with a takonoma. So I guess like a guest room for hosting people. And we're turning that one into the bedroom. And then the front 2 rooms, these are all separated with sliding doors. So we are knocking the front 2 into one big living room and building some solid walls in between some of the rooms.
Yeah. You must be learning so much about Japanese traditional houses. And I notice you have kept some of the traditional culture features.
Oh, I have. Oh, 1 second. Our woodman has just arrived.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me just phone Ichi.
Sure. This is one of the wonders of being live streaming, right?
Yes.
And doing remodels on the house where you have workmen coming all the time. Go ahead.
Exactly,
go ahead if you need to.
Just calling in.
Yeah.
Just send a message. In fact, let me just shout it to you. It might be faster.
Go ahead. So I'm just showing pictures from her room. She's kept some of the traditional features, even like it's like an altar, it's like a religious altar. And they found a shrine, a little stone shrine out in the back in the garden. And she was talking about in the video that even though they don't consider themselves to be religious, they have kept these features because it's kind of a part of the house and it's a part of the traditional culture of the house. And I think this is lovely, keeping certain features of a traditional house, even if it has religious aspects, because it's so connected to the tradition and the culture of Japanese houses, which is so beautiful.
Okay.
Kamidana. That's right. Thanks,
Yeah.
Lauren.
Oshigoto. Sumimasen.
Yeah. Louise is saying it's a fabulous find. Yes, it's heritage for the house. So I love that part of the video where you're talking about you guys don't consider yourselves very religious, but that you love like keeping up the little shrine you found in the back garden and the kamidana inside the house, and it just kind of keeping up the traditions and the culture of the house is a nice part of the renovations. Is that right?
Yeah, completely. And I think one of our aims is to preserve and even showcase some of those more traditional features, because they play such an important role in the house and its original design and the culture of these older houses. So even though we're not religious, they're beautiful objects, and I just feel like you should preserve them and be kind to them.
Yeah. I know this is when I've talked to other people who've renovated old traditional Japanese houses, this is something that people kind of go back and forth about. And especially if they're like a partner is Japanese, but Ichi seemed fine with keeping another family's kamidana. That was okay.
Yeah, I mean, we cleared off everything that was on it, and then we did oharai to kind of, clear the spirits and have a fresh start for it. We took it down and completely cleaned it off properly. So I think we've done our best to clean away the old families, but probably because Ichi's not actually religious himself, he's not overly bothered about it.
Right. Yeah. Because in a traditional household, you would take responsibility for giving offerings to the ancestors, right? So some people might feel awkward about it. I think it's beautiful. Yeah, nice, a beautiful part of your house. Beautiful feature.
It's gorgeous, and it's actually really big and it's really well made. And when we saw it, we just said, wow, that must have cost a fortune. It's a very special one.
Yeah. Another fun feature was you getting your first car and a little K car, a working car, right?
A workman's van.
I had one for over 10 years. It was awesome. And
Did you?
Yeah, it's awesome for moving things around. I changed my car. Now I have an electric car, but I miss that space that I had in the back. You could fit so much stuff in.
Oh, it's
Those
so
cars
useful.
are so useful.
Well, especially given that we're buying everything on Yahoo auction and then we're having to drive and pick it up ourselves. So we've had like a kitchen in there, a bathtub, a toilet, like everything has gone into that van.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think they're just the best cars if you are working, but I wish they would make some electric versions. Because electric cars are the way of the future, and those engines aren't very powerful anyway. They use very little gas. But why not make them electric? They'd be perfect.
Yeah,
Plug it
they
in your
could
house
do.
every night.
They'd probably be more powerful if they did.
Yeah, maybe. Some of the bigger projects I've seen on your videos is taking down the ceiling.
Yes.
And then taking out the bathroom completely was a big job, right?
Yeah, that like smashing the wall down and smashing the tiles was just fun. But getting out the metal bathtub, I mean, Ichi had crowbars under there and he was really trying to pry that out. And then the biggest
was some
job,
rotten in there too, right? In the bathroom.
Oh yeah. So we discovered that the dodai, which is the kind of the wood at the bottom of the wall, kind of the foundation of the house, had rotten. So the bathroom must have been leaking. So Furukawa-san, who is behind us now, actually supplied us with some new dodai, which we've installed.
Oh, that's great. And I was really interested as well when you were showing the underneath of the house and how important that is in a Japanese house. Can you tell us about that a little bit?
Yeah. it's actually been fascinating for me learning about how these houses are constructed and, you know, why certain things are done the way they are. So under the floor, you've basically got little stilts, I guess is the best way to describe them, lots of little legs keeping the floor off the ground. It's probably, I did measure it, I think it was about maybe 70 centimeters from memory, less than a meter up. And then it's a dirt floor under there. You just onto soil, basically. And this space is for airflow. So one of the reasons why these houses are preserved so well and the wood is still so strong is because you've got so much air flowing around them, which comes in from under the floor. You would have had tatami on the floor, which again has got lots of air holes. And then the ceiling, you've got a lot of airflow as well. So that would keep it cool in the summer.
That is a really important part of the house, of course. And then what you were talking about before, how all the wooden beams fit together. And then amazing. There's certain beams that you couldn't move because they are very important for the stability of the house, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not sure what they're called, kind of key beams or core posts cannot be moved, which can create a few difficulties when you're trying to design the house for more modern living. You can't just put everything exactly where you want it. You have to take these posts into consideration and then make your design around those.
Yeah. I love that video where you're talking about wanting to have the kitchen island, but you can't put it in front of the beam. You can't put it behind the beam. Were you able to find a way to wrap it around in the end?
So the kitchen's not been installed yet, but when Furukawa-san came over and we'd opened up the ceiling, he had a really good look and basically said, you can actually take that post out. So we've actually taken it out now. And we took it out the day before the big earthquake a couple of months ago.
Oh my goodness.
And then we went back to Tokyo for a couple of days. And when we were in Tokyo that night, the earthquake hit and we were like, oh my God, we've just taken that post out. I wonder if the house is still standing.
Oh my gosh.
It's fine. So it turns out it wasn't a supporting post.
Oh, good. Yeah, we've lived here so long. We've had 2 sets of remodel team that come in, 2 different companies. And the second team said, I would really like to add a support beam here because it should be here and there isn't one. And we're like, yes, please do that. So that was nice to know. And then I misunderstood his Japanese. And I thought he was saying it would go from the roof rafters all the way down to the first floor. And I was like, what do you mean? Like a fire pole that I can like slide down? And he's like, what are you talking about? It was obviously some childhood fantasy of mine come to life, you know. But it's not a fire pole. Yeah. But it is very good to have support beams. Yes.
Very, very good.
Wendy has asked from Facebook. Thanks, Wendy. She says, what was personally the most satisfying part of this process? And also curious to know community reaction. Good question.
Oh, yeah. I'll start with the community reaction because we were worried about that. Ichi was especially worried about it. It's actually been much more welcoming than we ever could have imagined. So we've got neighbours on both sides. On my left side, we've got an older couple who I think must be late 80s, early 90s. Very quiet. We've been over and said hi and they've been really nice, but we don't hear from them very much. But they did come over and have a nose around once. And then on the right side, we've got a family, which is, I guess, the grandparents, their children, and then the grandkids. And they've also been very, very welcoming and, you know, pop in with cold drinks if it's hot or food for us if they can see we're really busy. So that's been wonderful. And very luckily found Furukawa-san, the woodman, the woodmaster, who's helped us and has been incredibly kind and generous and given us extra wood for free and given us discounts, and it's been really nice. So yeah, very, very positive reaction, actually.
That's great. And you actually had one of your neighbors watching out for your cat while you went away. Is that right?
Yeah. So that's this side next door. The grandkids absolutely love him. So they can't leave him alone. They actually say it's their cat.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, that helps so much. One of the surprising things for me, which I didn't realize, was the garbage system. Tell us how different it is from the city.
Oh yeah. So it's not done by the city council. It's done by, I guess, a local community group. So you have to actually ask if you can use the garbage disposal facilities, which are, our nearest one is just a maybe 4-minute walk down the road. But you actually have to get acceptance into the group to be able to use it. And we were worried at first because we thought, well, mate, what if they say no? Like, what are we going to do with our rubbish? And I'm English.
Yeah.
And we were really worried. So we put it off for quite a while because we were so nervous. We started taking garbage back to Tokyo with us until we finally worked up the courage to ask. And they said, yes, it's fine. You can use it.
Wow. But in the video, you were saying you can use it for a certain time, like a trial period. And then if you don't make any big problems, then you can continue using it.
Yes.
So they're very strict, right?
Oh, very strict. Very strict.
Wow. But it kind of makes you think, well, maybe other areas are a little bit too relaxed about the garbage system, because it is a big problem all over Japan, right? So that's kind of how you should be doing it. You should be doing it a bit more strict, maybe.
Well, it keeps you on your toes, and you're definitely going to sort everything out into the right containers on the right days at the right times.
Yeah, whenever we've moved into a new neighborhood, we always had people, and this is the city pickup, but you always have someone in the neighborhood who's watching out for it. And we would often have, if somebody made a mistake, they would bring it to our house and be like, listen, just because we're foreign doesn't mean we're the one making a mistake. That is not mine,
Yeah, you're always going to get blamed for those kind of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you tell us a little bit about all the costs so far? Because I think the money part of it is definitely something that attracts people to looking to remodel an old house. But how much have you been able to, well, you saved a lot by buying it that way. How much has it cost? Can you give us a ballpark?
Yeah, so the purchase price was 5 million Japanese yen, which is about 47,000 US dollars. For all of the houses on the land, which also includes an enormous cowshed. And then we initially set a budget of 2.5 million yen for the renovation, which was just plucked out of thin air, to be very honest. It wasn't based on any form of calculation as to what things might cost. It was just based on what can we afford and what seems reasonable. And so far, we have spent 2 million so far. And I don't think we're going to finish in 2.5. I think we might be able to do it in 3 or 3.5. 3.5 is probably slightly more realistic.
Even so, if you can do the whole project under 10 million, that's amazing.
Yes. And I think, well, the reasons why it has been kept quite low on the costs is because A, we're doing it all ourselves, or, most of it. And then B, we've been super careful about what we've bought and where we've bought it from. We haven't really bought anything new. Everything is ex-display model or secondhand or like everything.
And you've had pretty good luck with that, getting off Yahoo auctions. Things have been what they say they are, pretty consistent.
Yeah, actually. Yeah. No real problems at all.
That's amazing. I remember when we were doing our remodel and a friend of mine was also remodeling her place. And she said, you should get on Yahoo auctions and order all your doorknobs And I was like, I think I'll just get the remodel guys to do it. Like, I just couldn't imagine ordering everything that you need, but you guys are doing everything. It's amazing.
It's very time consuming though. I would say that. It's a massive drain on time because you've got to find these things, which takes time, and make sure it's what you wanted or, you know, close enough. And then you've got to bid for them. So if you lose it after you've spent 2 days looking for something, that's a really big disappointment to then start again.
Yeah.
The first kitchen we bid on, we took ages to pick one, and then we were bidding and it was going on, and it was past midnight and I was exhausted and like really tired, and we're sat there on this phone like doing the bid, and then in the end it went over our budget, so we lost it, and I was really upset because I was so tired. I'd stayed up all night.
Well, I mean, that was one of the interesting things when you were looking for your house. You ended up finding one that you kind of fell in love with. You got invested, right? And then you bid a little bit low, maybe to offer to the owner. And then you were so upset that you made Ichi call him back and give a higher bid, and that was the right thing to do.
That was
great.
That was the right thing, and I think we did the wrong thing at first. I took a very Western approach to thinking, well, if that's the listed price, you should always go lower, which is not really the thing to do in Japan. The price is the price. And I think maybe it caused some offense. And that's why it was like, no, you're not having it. And by the way, someone else in the family is now going to buy it. It's, you know, it's no longer available at any price. And I think it caused offense, the lowball offer.
Yeah. It's tricky though, because I have Japanese friends who've done it and done it well. And we tried it as well. When we bought our house, we gave a low ball, and they came back pretty quick saying, I think it was the realtor saying, I'm not even going to say that to the owner. Like that's just insulting. And so we were like, okay, you know, thank you for letting us know. And then we went closer to the asking price. But in the end, it's just case by case, really, isn't it? You just have to kind of be respectful, but maybe a little bit lower than the asking price. Maybe.
Yeah. And it's kind of, I mean, Japan's a weird situation with these prices anyway, isn't it? Because this house would have cost an absolute fortune to build. They would have spent so much money on building this house, and they've basically sold it for pennies. We checked the price of the land in this area, and the land is worth more than what we paid for the house, because I guess they assume you're going to pull it down, which is going to cost money.
That's exactly what we were told. That we were told you're basically getting the land price minus like a discount for the garbage of a house that is left on it.
Yes.
And then when you tell them you're going to keep the house, and they're always really surprised, right?
Yes. And it would just be such a shame to pull this house down. It's so well made.
And you actually have a house and a smaller house and a shed. So like you've really lucked out. You've got three usable frames, right?
Yeah. And I saw a question before from Lauren asking if we still have plans for a guest house, which we do. So there's so much land here, and the small house which we're living in now would make a great guest house for people. So once we finish this renovation, if we ever finish it, then we'll move on to thinking seriously about what kind of licenses do we need for that, and, you know, all those things. But we'd definitely like to use the land for some business as well.
Yeah, that sounds great. It's a great option to have. And I have talked to a few people who in the end decided not to, just because they wanted to kind of keep it as their own escape, because they had work outside the house. When they come home, they just want to relax and be home, not worry about customers. But it might be a great place to have people you're working with, or people, you know, who become friends. Maybe they start as customers, or somebody that you know a little bit. I was talking to somebody who is renovating a house last month, and she was saying, yeah, if somebody asks my husband about a better pillow because it's too hard. He's going to lose it.
I
Because he's
watched
put
that. Yes.
all his love into every part. And they're doing so much of the work themselves too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
imagine you become very personally attached to all this great work that you're doing. And if you did see someone come in and not appreciate it, that would be really hard, right?
Well, I did say to Ichi, if we do a guest house, no one's coming in the main house. That's just mine. Nobody's welcome there. But I think in the back of the garden, we've also got some more land behind the cowshed, which is farmland. If we could get that changed into residential land and maybe put a couple of containers on there, container guest houses, that would be great.
Oh, wow. That's a good idea. Or, you know, with that movie coming out, you could have some renovated vans, have a van life experience. You know,
Yes.
people just have a parking area where people can drive their vans in.
Oh God, yeah, even like a bit of a campground.
Yeah.
Because the location we're in is beautiful and actually quite touristy as well, domestically touristy. There's a complete cycling path around the lake, which is directly in front of us. So every day we are seeing loads of cyclists going past.
Wow. Yeah, it sounds like a great area to try a bunch of different ideas and just see which one works for you guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
We're actually very, very fortunate. I feel like it's an hour to the airport to Narita, surrounded by beautiful countryside, a lake in front of us. Yeah, it's just perfect for us.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you want to describe what you can see around you? What are you in the process of doing that we might not be able to see in a video yet?
Yeah, so the biggest project we've had on over the last few months is building the new bathroom into that space that was a bedroom, and that's been the most challenging thing we've done so far because it's a lot of concrete work. We've built the foundations, we've had to learn how to put a drain system in to all of that. So this has been 5 months so far on the bathroom. It's killing us. So maybe I can move the laptop and show you.
Yeah, let's see.
So we're in the living room and hold on.
Is that the bathtub behind you?
The bathtub is currently sat in the living room. Yes, there we go. I'm not sure how stable this is.
That might be a feature, a bathtub in the living room.
Yes. And then if I walk over this way, we are heading to the bathroom that we're building.
Oh, wow. It is a building site, isn't it?
Oh, it really is. Yeah. How's my angle?
Now is that what the bathtub is going to be there next to the window?
Yes. So we've put that window in ourselves. So we've rebuilt that back wall and put the window in. And then the bathtub will sit. How's my angle? There we go. That's what we've built to put the bathtub in.
That's
and then
great.
The marble tile floor there is the shower area.
Wonderful.
So we need to put walls around this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not just glass like a love hotel.
Not just glass. And then
but I saw that on Pinterest that you had talked about. You really wanted a view of the garden from the bathtub, and you've done it. Good for you.
What we're making. So yeah, we will raise the level of the ground just outside the window, and then we'll kind of fence it in so we don't have any peeping toms. And then we'll have a little Japanese garden just outside the window, which is exactly what I put on my Pinterest.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Wonderful. And I like all the wood that you're using. Are you choosing the wood that's displayed? I saw that you guys had a beautiful ranma decorative wood.
Yeah, we've bought a few on Yahoo Auction, and we're going to put them in various points around the house. So whilst we're trying to modernize it, so it's easy for us to live in terms of like a proper bathroom and a proper kitchen, we also really like those old traditional carvings and all the wood. So we're doing a bit of a combination of both. modern but traditional.
Yeah. I saw on Pinterest you were talking about you like the combination of the stone and the wood and the tiles. It's a really
Yeah.
nice combination with natural light, right?
Yes. Yeah. So to be fair, like all of the ideas we said we wanted at first, we're trying our best to actually get them in.
Yeah, no, you're doing a great job.
I must show you this window over here as well. It's very nice.
And you are putting insulation in, so you are doing some more sustainable living type of renovation as well.
We are.
Insulation's a big one. Are you thinking about solar or like LED lights or any other?
At the minute, we're not. We
Yeah.
haven't thought about it. Lots of people have got solar panels around here, actually, though. So it might be something that we could explore a little bit more. I don't know.
So is this the bedroom we're in?
Yeah, this is the bedroom. I'm not sure how good the light is here for this window.
It's a little dark. Is that a new window?
This is old. This is one of the original features of the room. It's a beautiful kind of carved glass window. Is it?
Yeah, it looks like it has some etched design in the glass.
Yeah, it's carved. Maybe if the light's better from this side.
Beautiful.
Ah.
Oh yeah, Fuji-san.
Yeah, we've got Fuji-san in.
Nice.
I have to send you a picture of it, but it's beautiful. So we're leaving in all of those features.
I mean, in terms of sustainability, the whole reuse of an old house is much more sustainable than building a new house. So you're already 100% up in terms of sustainable design.
We are. And then we're hoping to do a bit of vegetable gardening ourselves as well.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, great. Any other questions that we've missed so far? I don't think so. I think we're doing pretty well. So the guest house thing is kind of still on the cards. Yeah, I was interested in, you took out all the tatami. Are you thinking not having any tatami in?
Yes, we're not. In the 2 front rooms, we've bought an oak floor, which we're going to put in.
Wow.
And then the kitchen and the bathroom, we're just going simple. We're going vinyl flooring.
Yeah, just keep it simple, easy to clean.
Yeah, exactly. And also cost effective as well.
Yeah. I mean, when you were saying when you were taking out the tatami that each one was 30 kilograms, that's really heavy.
They're really heavy.
Wow. Yeah. We kept one room with tatami just because the remodelers said if you want to go back to tatami, it's difficult. If you want to change to wood floor, it's easy. But if you want to go the other way and add tatami, it's more difficult, is what they were saying.
So my original thought was that I would have liked to have kept a tatami room because, you know, to me it's kind of unique and novel and, you know, traditionally Japanese. But Ichi, having grown up in houses with tatami floors, was just like, no, let's have a nice wood floor.
And if you are thinking of using it for tourism, that's one thing that always surprises me is sometimes visitors don't like the smell of the tatami mats too, right? Like some people will renovate and add new tatami.
Yes.
And then the visitors will complain. But most Japanese people would love the smell, but it is a very distinct smell. And some people have allergies. So yeah, you got to do what works for you.
Yeah, I think so. And the main house is only ever going to be for us anyway. So it's an easy decision.
Nice. Wendy says, very inspiring. Thanks for sharing your experience. Love that you have been through so much work and maintain a positive, forward-looking attitude. That's true. That's so important.
And I think, like, just personally with COVID, working in travel, as you know, it's depressing. Like, everything you worked so hard for over the last years just feels like it's been pulled away from under your feet. And so having something completely different and super interesting and such a big project to focus on has really just helped keep me going.
That's so important, to have something you can do now,
Yeah.
which is going to make your future better, is such a positive thing to do right now. It's great.
Yeah. And I think, you know, I'm sure there's other people watching that work in tourism. It can just feel like you've got no control because you haven't got any control right now over a lot of it. So finding something that you can control yourself and you can focus on, I think, is super important.
Yeah. Fabulous. Great. Have you been, I think you were talking about cycling. Have you been cycling around the area, getting to know where you live now?
Oh no, we've been too busy with the renovation work. It's still on my list. I've got a list. It's like I need a bike to cycle. I want to get a kayak so I can go out on the lake. I've got this like really long list of things that I'd like to do after the renovation.
I don't know how you guys are keeping up your energy. There was one part of the video, one of the videos where you guys are just sitting outside in your overalls, having some food, and your cat is on your lap, and you both aren't talking. You're just eating. And I remember that from when you're remodeling something and working so hard. You don't need to speak. You're just happy to have a break, right?
Yes, you just want to sit down and eat.
We have a few more minutes. So what is your next project in this grand project? What's the next focus?
Within the house stuff, we just need to finish the bathroom. That's what we keep saying. We just need to finish the bathroom. It's 5 months now. Get the bathroom finished and be able to have a shower in our own house. And then we'll move on to the kitchen. But I think once the bathroom is done, hopefully everything's going to feel a lot faster.
So at the moment, are you still going to the 15-minute shower place?
Yes.
You said it's the least relaxing shower. Have you gotten used to it a bit? Are you in and out in 15? No problem.
I have to set my stopwatch on my phone to make sure we don't overrun and get told off.
Oh, that's awful. So it will make your first bath in your beautiful bathroom that much better. So just look forward to that.
Yes, it totally will. I'm never going to get out of that bathtub once it's installed.
And it looks like you've bought some great features for the kitchen. You've got island. Tell us about the kitchen plan.
Yeah, so we're going to have an island in the middle, hopefully with some hanging lights, which I'm currently looking for online. Actually, lights are one thing that we struggled a little bit more with because Japan doesn't have a great selection of kind of nice design, not, you know, nicer designs, modern designs. So we're actually looking at Amazon in America for lighting fixtures. Wow. But yeah, with a couple of hanging lights and then hopefully a nice wood table in there as well. And I am hoping to change out the door, which I don't like, into a nicer one with clear glass and maybe put a little deck outside the kitchen door too.
Wow. And you got a dishwasher, which is kind of unusual in Japan still.
Yeah, it's come in the island. It's all in there. It's got the gas top, the dishwasher, the extractor fan, all in.
Very nice. Yeah. What room is going to be your favorite, do you imagine? The bathroom?
Oh, the bathroom.
The bathroom, yeah.
Yeah. Which has consumed all of our energy.
That's always my favorite too. Renee from YouTube. Yeah. Renee from YouTube says, love your initiative. That's great, Renee. Thanks. Yeah, awesome. 1 more minute. Any final words of inspiration for anybody else out there thinking of a renovation project?
I would say just do it. Why not? But it's going to be harder work than you think. But just go for it.
Any advice like on scheduling or planning things? Like, should you write stuff down? Should you make notes? on a
You definitely
calendar.
should, because I feel like we've made some important decisions about sizes of things or designs, not written it down, and then the next week completely forgotten what we'd decided and had to have the same conversation again.
Oh, yeah,
So
it was fun talking to John the carpenter last week because he's used to all this planning for clients, like excessive 3D charts and everything. But when it's his own house, he said, I just went forward, just started doing it. So maybe if it was for a client, you would have everything, you have to have everything laid out, but because it's your own project, it's kind of passion led, right?
yes, yeah, I completely agree. Yes. And that's what makes it fun as well.
Yeah, for sure. Louise says, thank you, both inspiring. It's amazing hearing these wonderful stories. Yeah, I would love to catch up when the project is almost done. You can give us a walkthrough.
Yes. And yeah, please come over and have a look.
That'd be great. Yeah. Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of insight on your project as it's going. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's so nice to talk.
Are you back to work now?
Yeah, we had a very nice 1 week break in Ishigaki just to kind of, escape the renovation and relax. And we've come straight back into it. Even picked up some more installation on the way back from the airport.
Oh, wow. Well, you have Golden Week coming up, and hopefully you can get a lot of work done, but also take some breaks and go enjoy your beautiful lotus blossom, lotus root area.
Yes, we've got a couple of friends coming up over Golden Week actually that want to help. So that's
Nice.
that's always enjoyable. And I feel like we get a lot done when someone else comes.
That's great. Do you have enough overalls to go around?
No, we don't. Bring your own.
Bring your own overalls. But that's so true, right? And we see this with rice farmers in Japan now. During Golden Week, a lot of people are planting the rice because that's when they can get people to come and help.
Yeah.
So hopefully you'll be able to get a lot done. You'll have some good workers helping you out.
I think we will.
Good. Well, best of luck and keep up the good work. Thanks, Laura.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me today.
Thanks, everybody, for joining. We're taking a break over Golden Week, and we'll be back with our first talk on the 6th. So have a great week. Have a nice break, everyone. Take care. Bye.